Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Radiant Light. This is our Holy Halloween Extravaganza, Sunday, October 30th. We're celebrating all things Halloween. And we're really going to be talking a little bit today about what a little weird can do. I'm Reverend Cherie Ruffo, and been looking forward to this service all week. So you all having fun right now this week? Having been watching a lot of my favorite old movies, some new movies for Halloween, just, really enjoying it. I saw Joe's dressed as Harry Potter. I was almost came as Professor McGonagall. I love to watch the Harry Potter series, and has anyone seen the new Hocus Pocus? This is from 30 years ago. On Friday, I got together with my family and we watched the one from 29 years ago, the original, and we watched the new one, and they were fun. Just a great way to laugh and to celebrate. And as I was thinking about Halloween, and I thought about, okay, well, we can talk about divination. There's so many different things we can do, but I decided to look around and see what some of the other talk titles were out there. So first, I looked at other Christian churches, and I was kind of surprised. I'm not putting anybody down because everybody has their own belief systems, but I saw, the titles were "The Demons of Halloween," "The Devil is Real," "Warning About Halloween," "The 10 Reasons Not to Celebrate Halloween," "The Devil and His Crew," and "Take It from Someone Who Used to Talk to Satan." I thought, wow, okay, that it's really not my take, my take on Halloween, but okay. And then I looked at some of the Unity centers, and Unity's all positive Christianity. I'm like, okay, let's see what's everybody talking about with in Unity centers. What we think we see. Holy Humor Halloween, The Magicians, Which Witch Are You, and The Gift of Halloween. They were quite a different take on it. And I was thinking back to Halloween. Remember when Halloween was designated as the scariest day of the year? Wow, it's gonna be Halloween. We're gonna be scared today. And now I find, really turning on the news can scare me even more. And I really, decided, okay, in the talk today, what we're going to talk about is, some of the things that we're seeing, around us, and also with Halloween, and really what my take, and what I've seen. I have some scriptures to look at, and it's more about joy, because we have to remember the things that we're seeing, whether it's on Halloween or it's in our daily lives, are external things. And we know, as Unity Truth students and New Thought people, that the external things are not what we become. What we're seeing externally is where we've been. So it's important to take a look at the distractions we have in our lives. Face our own true fears if we do have them, because they will present in our lives. We'll see them. And when we look at some belief systems, with fear, whether people like Halloween or they don't, and I saw some of the things I saw is that if you celebrate Halloween, it'll bring, you'll be hexed for 4 to 5 generations. The children, you'll burn for it. Evil will come from it. And I thought, it's not what I've ever seen from Halloween. I kind of have a different feeling about it. And then I saw this Mark Twain quote. It says, "I've lived through some terrible things in my life, some of which has actually happened." And I thought, wow, that's really true, and so because the more uncertain we feel, the higher our anxiety becomes. The more we close ourselves off to joy, fun, and then we see this fear reflected in the mass consciousness. I've noticed in the last few years, and I don't think I'm the only one who's noticed this, but when I turn on the news, everything is a life or death situation. If this person is elected, we're going to be doomed. If this happens, we're going to be doomed. If this, we watched Moonfall last night in my house, and it was about the moon coming apart and destroying Earth. And there's just so many apocalyptic things out there, and it portrays, everything isn't a life or death situation. I mean, sometimes things can happen, especially if the moon came apart. That would be a real big problem. But the more we close ourselves off, the more we close our consciousness off. I'm a firm believer in coming together when we have something happen. if it's a problem, and let's just address them. Because I believe that working together, we can solve anything. And I think that if we had done that with things like homelessness and healthcare and, all the different things we see as, societal problems, we may have already solved them instead of just fighting about them and everybody passing judgments on each other. You know, has anyone, especially with Halloween, has anyone gone to a haunted house recently? One that's for Halloween, not yours if it's haunted, that's a whole other talk, and let me know. That's a whole other thing we can do. Well, the fear when we have anxiety is real. It's palpable about what might be coming. We're thinking about, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. And intellectually, we know, we're in a safe place all the time. I mean, we are eternal beings. I mean, things can happen externally but as an eternal being, I can never be lost. I can never really be hurt. When we go into a haunted house, we're there because the anticipation of the fear of what's coming, because it's fun. Some people like it. Our blood pressure, we're paying someone so our blood pressure can go up. Our flight or fight response can kick in, and it motivates some people, and it just can be fun. A lot of times we go with children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews because we want them to have a good time and have that experience together of seeing something uncertain and unknown. But we have to remember, because, I mean, and in some years, 2022, kind of like that, Halloween can be every day. So we're in that fight or flight response all the time, and it becomes skewed. So we become sick, angry, depressed. It's not life affirming for us. So we need to look at the consciousness of which we're living in every day. And Halloween is a great thing to look at. Yeah, I'm going out tomorrow, and I'm going to be answering my door to really cute little kids who have spent a lot of time dressing up. And I can use this to enjoy that time. Because if we look at right now, we really need that. In 2019, there was a study done that showed that 29% of people in the country have been diagnosed with some sort of mental health challenge. And that can be anything from a mental health disease to depression, whatever it is. Well, so what happened between 2019 and 2022? We had a pandemic. We had a lot of things happen. We've had shortages and just a lot of things that have impacted people. So they took that survey again, and they found out this time that 48% of the people are challenged. And in particular, what people reported that they felt is that people are watching them and judging them. So that says a lot to us about where our society's at, where mass consciousness is at. So we need to take that back to ourselves and say, how do I feel in this situation? How am I feeling watched or judged? Do I care? I'm just going to let my freak flag fly and have a good time. What is it that you're feeling? Is it causing you anxiety? And this talk is not meant to cause you anxiety. It's just for things for you to think about. And I think that most people have been feeling this at a high level. And I say tomorrow is Halloween, so let's use Halloween to shift those thoughts, to reset ourselves if we need to. Some of you who have been here for a while remember when we did heart math a few years ago, and we saw that the quality of our thoughts and our feelings, when hooked up to the heart math, we had a game that we played with it, could actually color a beautiful picture. And some of the pictures where people were 100% resonance, we saw unicorns and just beautiful things. But it just kind of let us know where we were at. Not all forever, but in that moment of time, because we're always in the now, right? But the one thing that it showed, and we started seeing the science reporting, is that we have a resonance field around us. It's about 10 feet around us. That's what they thought. They suspected it was more. And we've seen with science and all the other things that have come since then, people think that now the scientists are saying it could be up to 40 feet around us. That's your resonance field. So just sit for a moment and think about all the way around you, 40 feet. That's a huge area. It's really big, right? And science also says that the more peaceful we are, joy we have, that field can grow. So it's not just about what we're thinking, it's about how we're impacting everyone around us. That means we're bumping into each other all the time. Right, right now when we sit in the movie theater, think about that, where people are sitting closer together. Don't get stressed out. I know people have some fears about that now, but it's just a time to think about it. So what's your resonance field? What is in that field that you're putting out there? So we think, okay, maybe I need to reset that resonance field. And I think Halloween is the perfect time to do it. People say I'm going to start um, New Year's resolutions and all these things. Let's think about what Halloween, symbolizes is, fun and being scared and all that. And let's just do a reset with it. So I say let's pick 10 reasons to celebrate Halloween. The one is to reclaim our inner child. Today is, tomorrow is a children's holiday. And I believe that's, it may have been created for different things, purposes in the past, but now that's what we celebrate it for. So let's use it to let our inner light shine, to be blameless and innocent children of God appearing as lights in the world. If there's darkness and anxiety going on, we always talk about using it to be that light, that shining light. They talk about when I was reading in some of the other talks and some of the things that people had out there about Halloween, one of the fears is that if you carve pumpkins, that it's believed in some circles that you're opening your home to evil. Well, what we think about expands. We have to keep this in mind. So when you look at a pumpkin, I've never seen it as something about that, something that opens to home. Hold on one sec. Apparently, we have ghosts and ghouls around the house right now. They're in our yard. Um, so when I look at pumpkins, I think, and when I'm carving a pumpkin, I get excited because I think about the yummy seeds that are inside, the soup I can make, and the antioxidants that they have. And so when we think about expands, is that happening for you? Are you looking at, having fun? Is this a time that you can spend with children or family carving these amazing pumpkins? So that's a reshift in our consciousness. Sorry about that. Froze up again. Have fun with your family and friends. It's believed that having pumpkins by the door brought 4 to 5 generations curse on the house. Well, let's abandon that. And I don't think that anybody here thinks that. But I've celebrated Halloween forever, and it's just fun. It's time to have fun with the children, the grandparents. Let's do away with that ideas of it being something negative. And we see the little kids in Matthew 19:14, it says, "Let the little children come to me. The kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." It doesn't say anything about curses or anything about that. They talk about the little children. Also, I believe we're talking about our inner child. And we're allowing that inner child is holy Halloween experience. Let it come out to play. And Jesus said, "Truly I say to you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." And that means we have to allow ourselves to really open our hearts, to let in our heart math, let that resonance come out. Celebrating Halloween is about that. Celebrating heart, and some people say, well, I can't celebrate Halloween because that's too negative. So I'm going to celebrate harvest. And now I've seen on the spectrum, they're saying, oh my gosh, harvest is just as evil. It's not. The problem that I see in number 4 is that we're standing in judgment of things. And it's the judgment that's holding us back. It's the judgments that's creating this mass consciousness of fear and anxiety. So let's celebrate harvest time and Halloween and know that we're not bringing curses and anything. We're bringing joy to the world. And how can that be bad? Coming together to celebrate and share, whether it's here or in person, is a great way to shine that light. So putting on number 5, putting on a costume. It's another way to celebrate the inner child and bring more joy into our lives. not a demonic attack. So have fun with this. Be creative. Invoke that power of imagination. Because Halloween wraps fear and innocence as though it were a slightly sour sweet. Let terror then be turned into a treat. I love that. Just think about that. So any of that fear and the anxiety, would let it be turned into something good. Let us transmute it, because everything really is love or fear. And we can transmute fear right back into love. One of the things I enjoy is, celebrating some of our favorite characters. And we looked around today and we saw some funny ones. And some of my favorite Halloween costumes in the past have been a genie. I love being, a card reading gypsy. Cheshire Cat, I love that one. Glinda the Good Witch was a fun one. Betty Boop, I had a blast with that one. And Professor McGonagall, like I said, those are fun. I've had a lot of laughs. I've enjoyed that. Think about what you've enjoyed and the fun you've had. Especially when you open your door and you see the creative kids that are out there and the things that they're wearing. One of my favorite at a party was Baby Huey. I had a friend come dressed as Baby Huey, and he had the diaper with the big pen and the cigar, and he was a riot. Laughed all night. It brought joy. Number 7 is also based on November 1st. It's All Saints Day. It's another day to celebrate the saints in the world that we admire the most. And what are the qualities that you admire in them the most? I have St. Francis on my front lawn, and always admired just how compassion, or whether it's people or animals, and the good that he brought to the world. St. Anthony is one of my favorite ones to call on, because I'm always losing things. And I know I'm getting that assistance. But also, when we look at November 1st, it's All Saints Day and Halloween, it's said that the veil is the thinnest during those days than is any other time of the year. So if it is the thinnest, and I think that it's getting thinner all the time, that it's actually leaving. But even if you believe it's the thinnest, then it's a time to really reach out to our guides, masters, to people, our ancestors who have passed away, the people that we love so dearly, and spend some time, either communing or celebrating them. We make it a time of joy. And then the 8th reason is because we're laughing, and we know that laughter is the best medicine around. Friday, when we were watching Hocus Pocus, we got together to do that because my friend has cancer right now, and laughter's the best thing we can do. And we laughed, and we thought about where we were 29 years ago for the first Hocus Pocus, and just spent that time enjoying it. So put on the funny things. Bring out the things that make you laugh. I love opening up Facebook and seeing all the different costumes that are there in social media. And we can use that laughter to share, in the 9th reason to celebrate Halloween, to share it back in the world, like we said. Because that laughter is felt all the way around the world, and felt in places that need it the most. We can use that. And we know that, and the 10th reason is, the only thing we need to fear is fear itself. How much do we believe in the fear? And be careful in the company of monsters, that you don't want to become one. So how are we letting people impact us? How's that feeling to you? When you get that nudge, in the pit of your stomach, that's usually it's letting the power, it's the center of wisdom and judgment for us, but usually letting us know that, hey, something's up here. So think about this. What are you talking about right now with everybody? What are you posting about? Chances are the statistics that you're posting, because you firmly believe in, that the world's going to come to an end because of this, that everybody probably knows that already. But what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do internally to change that? What do you want to bring about in your own experience? What do you want that experience to be? How are you living your life? And what are you thinking about most of the time? We know that when we think about something, we often see it. We see it, maybe not right away, but we see it. So whatever you have to think about consistency. And if you want your life to change, you want to be in a better place, then use the consistency of that, of the joy, of the fun, of being in the moment to change it. You know, we talk about worry and blame, and people will tend to think about worry and they'll worry about something all the time. We know people like that. Have we done that? Oh, I have. And I love what Brene Brown says about that. She says, we're trying to dress rehearse tragedy so we can beat vulnerability to the punch. And we don't need to do that. That's when we need our inner child to come out the most and do that dance with us and say, hey, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I have faith. I have courage. Bring in those 12 powers, the power of strength. I have compassion for the world. So instead of being in fear and living Halloween every day of the year, let's celebrate it on October 31st and have fun with it. And then spend the rest of the year living without that worry, living in compassion, and bringing that to the surface. We can move out of fear and anxiety. Remember, we came here having this human experience. We're spiritual beings having the human experience, fully human experience, to have fun. And I know people will tell me, no, that's not what this is about. Well, I've never seen it written that it's about something else. We're using the power of imagination to create the world we want it to become. So how are we using these powers, the inner powers that we have? You know, how are we doing that? And as we think about that on Halloween, we can add a little weird to the world. That makes it a lot of fun too, right? If we want to be, you know, if we want to get out there and I just have fun with something, that's good. It's a good thing. So are you spending 80% of your time thinking about what you do want? Or are you spending 80% of your time, or hopefully 100% of time, thinking about that? Oftentimes when I talk to people, they're spending 80% of their time thinking about what they don't want, what they're afraid of. And what we know for sure is that we can't just stop thinking about what we don't want. We have to change that thought. We have to move it to something else. We have to transmute it. And we can do that by moving and shifting into joy. We can do that by letting that inner child come out. Maybe they haven't been out to play in a while. Well, it's time. And we can do that. We can seek out positive people. We can redirect or move away from conversations that are really negative. I've been doing that more and more lately. I'm just trying to sit in the joy. And it's not about being mean to someone and saying, well, you're negative, I don't want anything to do with you. It's about saying, hey, have you noticed or thought about, and shifting that. And remember that whatever you fall asleep thinking about or doing is what's going to come up in your subconscious during the night. We're going to talk about that a lot more in spring. When we do winter, we do the class on shadow self. And Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, I love one of the things that she did every night before she went to sleep. If she had a problem, she would put it on a piece of paper under her pillow, and inevitably she'd wake up in the morning, it would be solved. Well, whatever we're reading, if we're scrolling through something that's negative, you know, whatever that is, we can shift that before we go to sleep. Bring out the inner child, bring out the things that give you joy. You know, it'll bring a lot more joy into your life. There are great things happening out there in the world too. And I'm so proud of the Good News Group because of what they're doing to shift our consciousness. They're bringing the good to the surface, and so we can think about it more. And that's what we need more of. We need to spend more time doing that. So the easiest and best way, if you're feeling anxiety or depression, get involved in an activity where you can share positive things. Gifts, be a light in the world. Tell a different story about your life. What's the story you're telling right now? What can we become? Think about that. Where is your faith right now? We have a crisis of faith in the world right now. People lost faith in themselves, in their country, the government, and so many different things. And around the world, we're seeing this play out more and more. Activate the power of faith. It's the first of the 12 powers because it's involved in every power. Stop worrying about judgment. Speak your truth. And maybe not use it to engage in battles. I see those on social media all the time. I don't go on it a lot because of that. Find the people who are they're living their lives consciously, working to raise the vibration, and you feel good around them. And if you feel that someone's kind of sucking your energy, we call them energy vampires, you move away from that, spend less time there. Let that inner child rise up. Have fun with it. We're going to have a fun meditation in a few minutes with it. And shine. Your sense of wonder will come back, even if it's been gone for a long time. And with the holidays coming, Thanksgiving and Christmas, New Year's, all following that up, don't try to please everyone. It's okay if you don't. It's all right. When you let that inner child out, when you think about children, most of the time they're doing things that make themselves feel good. They're not trying to just please everybody. They're allowing their authentic self to come through. Allow that inner child to come out so that you can do that. Be yourself. That's the greatest gift you can give the world. And with the veils, the thinnest tomorrow, if that's what you believe, have some fun. Commune with those who have passed over, with your guides. But know that you can do that at any time, too, because the veil can thin all the time. So use this Hallows Eve tomorrow to release any fears that you have. Connect with your inner child connection. Let go of that anxiety. Use it to remember who you are and what you are, because the truth is always there. And we know that. And we know that. And we see that all the time. So have a great Halloween, you guys. I'm looking forward to I'll be going on to look at posts to see what you're wearing or having fun or what you're doing. I can't wait to hear your stories. I remember what Stephen King says, we make up horrors to help us cope with the real ones. And he's great. I've read a lot of his books, and he's got a few horrors in there. I'm not so sure they're always helping me cope, but I really do enjoy his power of imagination. So I'm so glad to be sharing this holiday with you guys, spending some time today celebrating the good and helping us to enhance the good in the world. God bless you all. I love you all. And as we move into meditation, instead of doing an affirmation, it's Halloween, right? I'm going to set the stage for us, our inner child coming out and allowing us to see the wonder in the world. And this is from one of my favorite Halloween movies. It's the House with the Clock in the Walls. So you may recognize it, but sit back. We're going to do that, and then we're going to go into meditation.
From Saturn to the sun, from the base to noble one, like the alchemist of old, turn this dross lead into gold.
Wow. That was really, really terrible. I mean, just awful.
Hey,
You're reading it like it's a Buick manual.
it's not what you say, Lewis. It's how you say it. You're the only you in the whole universe.
That makes your style of magic just crazy unique. 1 in 100 million kajillion. So I can give you the right books, teach you the right spells, but that last 1%, that's up to you.
So, how do I find my magic style or whatever it is?
It's in there somewhere. You just have to quiet down and listen. Now it looks like you're pooping.
Well, I don't know. This all feels weird.
What's wrong with weird? Weird's like the nuts in my cookies. It's the nuts that make things interesting.
Well, let me show you what a little weird can do.
Be a dear. Fetch a knife and stab me in the ears. Well, for a boy who loves words, you're sure at a loss for them.
Uncle Jonathan, you're way more than just a parlor magician.
Have a look around. Finally, a smile. I was starting to think you were incapable. Bad kitty! You used the litter box!
I love it. The power of joy and the laughter too that comes from it. As we just take that moment to feel that joy inside of us. As you just I invite you to take a nice deep breath in all the way down into our stomachs. And as we don't release the joy, release anything that's no longer serving us. As we take another deep breath in all the way down, just release the anxiety, the things that we're feeling from the world. We release that because we know who and what we truly are. We are here as God in expression, having this experience. Let's just take a deep breath in on that. As we recognize the eternal soul, the eternal spirit that you are, having this experience. And as that eternal soul, you have the power to bring what we want to see into the world. Because we know as the light shines brighter, we will see that. We also know that there's a lot of anxiety, depression out there, and that light will help to heal it. And the simplest way to do this is to allow that inner child to rise to the surface. Puts us in a place where we can feel that sense of wonder that we just saw, that sense of awe, that I feel so much just driving down the road now and seeing the beautiful colors of the leaves as the seasons change. Awe at all the things around us that happen for our benefits. And as we feel that child rising up, that sense of wonder, the joy, puts us into the quantum field of creation and helps bring us back into alignment if we need it. The alignment with our health, prosperity, joy, peace, whatever it is, love. You're meant to have all of these things. So as we go into the silence, just let that laughter rise up. Let that joy. Just allow that inner child to come forth as we sit in the silence. What have you been missing while your inner child's been so silent? What are you gaining now by allowing it to express? How does that sense of wonder feel to you? Let's just breathe it in. And when we open our eyes, what have we been holding back from seeing? When we look at something through a child's eyes, what are we seeing and feeling, tasting, hearing? What does that feel like? This is the gift that we're given, the gift that we are reminded of during All Hallows Eve as we move into All Saints Day. It's opportunities that we have to bring ourselves back into this alignment and to feel that connection. And allow ourselves to see and feel and hold this for all the others who need prayer. The prayer requests we're seeing and feeling, allowing this collective energy that we have as a group to shine, to vibrate all around the world, especially in the places that need it the most. With this collective energy that we have, with the energy that you have, as this beautiful spark in this world, we're going to see how people, every cell responding. The innate cells, the body has the ability to heal itself, allowing more of that for ourselves and the world. Prosperity, every person has the ability to be prosperous. There is enough to go around. And see or feel that joy that comes, that's missing from a few places. That brings us that peace, what we're meant to live in, reminding us that we are love. Jesus, our way shower, taught us these things. Guides and masters came to this world to teach us these things. They're still here. The teachers, you know this because it's who you are. And we're so grateful to all the teachings, to each one of you beautiful light in the world, shining these truths. So we say thank you. We allow that infinite intelligence that we know we're so grateful from God to shine. And so it is.